In this video, we're going to show having just this one word in your bio can get you laid. We're going to be breaking down a full Tinder conversation between a guy and the girl he wanted pulling. So make sure you watch until the very end because there's going to be a lot of lessons here. The opener here is, "You're quite the mystery." And she says, "I'm discreet, haha, but we can talk better on Snapchat." So the reason he censored this is simply because she doesn't have many photos in her profile. And this is actually a good opener to use for those situations. So write it down. He says, "Don't use Snap, do you have IG?" And again, this is a pretty good response because you don't want to waste your time with Snapchat. I might have just said, "Do you have WhatsApp?" or "We should text instead." But yeah, IG is fine. And she says, "Yes, give me your IG." He drops his IG. And then she says, "I have some questions about BDSM. Is everything you're looking for related to this?" This is actually a challenging question. So pause this video and think about how would you respond to this. Okay, unpause. So what he says is, "There are many things I'm looking for," which is good for a variety of reasons. First of all, he doesn't fall for the trap of just saying, "Yeah, I'm just looking to fuck," or "Yeah, I'm just looking for BDSM," because a lot of girls don't want a one-dimensional fuckboy. You want to show that you're multi-dimensional. And the second thing is builds intrigue. It builds mystery, right? Which is what you want to do. She says, "Say some." And he says, "A girl who's adventurous, open-minded, intelligent, nice curves, and soft lips, who have amazing emotional and sexual chemistry with." And it's good that he put the word emotional in here. Again, not to seem one-dimensional fuckboy. So this is good. This can apply to pretty much every girl with the exception of nice curves, or at least girls are going to think it applies to them. So nice curves, kind of take that in and out, use that for Latinas. And here she says, "Okay, sounds good. I will add your IG right now." Notice how she actually wanted to ask that question before she added him on IG. So she was actually screening him, which is kind of what I suspected. And she says, "Add from blah, blah, blah." And he says, "Message you." And here the conversation, just for a few messages, is in Portuguese. I'll translate to the best of my ability. So here he says, "Oh, you're Brazilian." And then he says, I guess she doesn't respond. He says, "Oi, gata." Now this is like fucking crack for Brazilian girls. I don't know why, but this message works really well. Essentially means like, "Yo, cutie," or something like that. And she says, "Yes, do you speak Portuguese?" And he says, "Haha, I learned maybe 5-10 words when I dated a Brazilian girl last year. My Spanish is much better." And here she says that she can speak Spanish, but she can't really write it. And then he says, "Do you speak English well?" "A little bit, not too much." "I'll teach you if you promise to be a good student." So good, setting that kind of dominant frame. And she says, "I promise." He says, "Good girl. What other questions do you have about BDSM?" Because she initially referenced that. And here she says, "I've heard about it, but I'm not really familiar with it. Can you tell me about it?" "All I know about is stuff I've seen from films." It's a rough translation. And he says, "Well, BDSM encompasses a lot of things. It's any kind of kinky sex, basically. Some of it is very extreme, but some of the things I like are being dominant, using toys, restraints, praise, degradation." So take a minute and think about this text. What is the one thing that you should probably cut out? It's degradation. The reason I wouldn't use that is, even though there's a good amount of girls who are into being degraded, just a lot of girls will just be like, "Ooh, like, is that in a mean way?" Especially girls who are not familiar with BDSM. Instead, I would basically replace it with something like, orgasm denial, or making a girl come over and over again, or being dominant, or something along the lines of that. And she says, "Are you like a Christian Grey? I'm not a fan of sex toys and degradation." And he says, "Really, there isn't a single one that you like? What turns you on, or what are some things you're interested in trying?" And she says, "So send me some things you're like, and then I will let you know if it's good for me." And that's actually pretty common. A lot of girls are afraid of basically leading when it comes to anything sexual. They want you to make the first move so they don't feel like a slut. So this is actually fairly common, especially with foreign girls. Here he sends her a nice little photo of some of his toys and says, "These are my toys. I also love edging and teasing, lots of foreplay and oral giving and receiving. I love when girls wear sexy lingerie for me, and I like it when you're a good girl for me and I can reward you with 10 plus orgasms." Oh, damn. She says, "I can use it for you. I will think about toys." And he says, "Good girl, I want you to show me what you have." Now, this is a text that's a double-edged sword because on one hand, if you get the girl to send a nude or like a sexy photo, that's like extra investment. But on the other hand, a lot of girls are just going to get turned off by that. Even girls who are like super DTF. First of all, some of them might be thinking like, "Oh, is he just like a scammer who's going to use this for revenge porn? Or is he just some weirdo who's like 80 years old or some like fucking 15-year-old in his mom's basement?" And the second reason is that simply just some girls are just apprehensive about sending nudes to guys they don't know. So it's kind of, again, a double-edged sword. I personally will never ask a girl for a nude, at least not until after sex. And he says, yes, think about it. The most important thing is that you are comfortable. I won't use anything you don't like, which is good because he's taking the pressure off her, which is what you really want to do in these situations. And she says, can I send it later? It would be funny if he said, no, send it right now. I need Bob's and Vagine. And he says, yes. She doesn't respond. So he sends her the Portuguese crack, which is oi gata. And of course, Brazilian girls are just DNA obligated to respond to that for some reason. No, I'm being like actually serious. Like this text works so well in Brazilian girls for some reason. And she says, oi gato. He says, how was your weekend? Sounds great. And yours? I don't know why I just do the fucking girl voice for some of them. And he says, great. I went to class on Saturday, got some work done, and got some good workouts in, just missing a little of her in my life. So he's basically putting her name in here. This is one of the texts I came up with a few years ago, but it's really, really solid. I like putting it in there. It's kind of cute. It's also kind of like, it builds a little sexual tension, so it's good. And here she says, so to be honest with you, I'm not ready for BDSM. Oh shit. And then she says, do you like going out more vanilla? And he says, I actually prefer to start with vanilla. BDSM is something that requires a lot of trust and comfort. The best kind of sex is sex with someone you have a good connection with and enjoy spending time with. Again, this is, we're not going to call it a politically correct text. We're going to call it a female correct text. It's a text that a lot of women are going to be on board with. And here she asks, where do you live? Now this is important. This is a buying question. It's like saying, do you have roommates? Or what are you doing tonight, right? These are texts that show the girl is extremely interested, right? So you want to capitalize on that. He says, I'm in blah, blah, blah. What about you? And she's like, I'm in blah, blah, blah. He says, gotcha. Have you been out here before? This text is kind of unnecessary, but you know, it's not a big deal. And she says, yes, I've been a few times. There's even a pizzeria there that I love. He says, which one? And she's like, sends the name of the pizzeria. She's like, you know? And he says, yes, it's actually right by my apartment. Have you been to blah, blah, blah? And she's like, I think so. We should meet up there for a drink and see how we vibe. Now, at this point, he probably has enough investment to invite her straight to his place, but there's a higher risk that she will flake because she'll kind of get cold feet. So asking a girl to meet up for a drink nearby your place is totally fine. She says, this is a good idea. He says, when are you free? This weekend is fine. I think Sunday's better for me. He says, Sunday is actually the only day I have free this weekend, so that's perfect. I think that if she said like, oh, I think Friday or Saturday is better for me, he would have been like, oh, good. Friday is actually the only day I'm free this weekend. But anyway, that doesn't matter. And he says, how does 7 sound? She's like, haha, great. Yes, 7 is fine. Give me your phone number. I will send you text later. Again, another buying question. Now, if she didn't ask this, he should have moved this to text. I'm sure he would have done that because you don't want to just basically be like confirming the date over Instagram or over Tinder. Getting the girl over to text or WhatsApp adds another, let's just say, layer of investment, which makes it less likely that she's going to flake. It could still happen, it's just less likely. And here she says oi, which essentially means like hey or like yo. He says oi, and then she says, doing what right now? And here I don't even know what the fuck she says. He says, I'm relaxing, about to head off to bed. How about you? In bed too. She says, bed? Give me picture. It's so funny. She sounds almost like a fob Indian here. Give me picture. I want Bob's and Vagine. And he says, I believe I'm still waiting on some pictures I asked you for. Now I'm waiting for you too. I asked you first, baby girl. You first, babe. And here he says, say please. She's like, please, haha. So this is a little bit of like a frame battle we can say here. Yeah, I mean, she did well by saying say please. You don't want to just get into the habit of just giving in to girls like we'll call it demands, even though it doesn't really qualify as demands, like things a girl is asking for. Now you don't want to constantly deny her shit either, because then she'll think, oh, this guy's a jerk or this guy's hiding something. But you want to make her jump through at least like 1 or 2 hoops, and a good way of doing that is just saying say please. It's really easy and it works the vast majority of the time. And he says, what kind of picture are you asking for? Now this is actually a good question to ask, because given the context here, it could be, you know, it's not unthinkable that she's asking for a dick pic, but you don't want to send her a dick pic if that's not what she's looking for. So I will actually use this text all the time in situations like this. And she says, first a normal picture of how you look now. Here he sends her a nice selfie and he says, your turn. Here she sends her photo and he says, you're cute. She sends one of those heart things. He says, how's your weekend going so far? Hi, it's amazing, and yours? It's been great. I'm chilling with my family on the coast right now. It's very relaxing here. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. So texts like this are a good way to confirm the date, and I'll do shit like this all the time too. So like the day before the date, I'll be like, looking forward to seeing you, excited to meet you, or pick out a cute outfit for tomorrow yet. I know people like AMS and some red pillars say that you don't want to confirm, you just want to show up on the date because confirming is low value. I fundamentally disagree with this. I think it's a lot less effective to just assume the girl's going to show up and just show up on the date yourself. It's going to be a massive waste of time because a lot of girls will think that because you didn't message them to confirm that you're actually flaking on them, so they will preemptively flake on you. And yeah, it's just a silly strategy. So you want to confirm essentially a day or two beforehand, right? Give her a little reminder and confirm day of. And she says, hi, what time did we meet? I don't remember. They really talked about this like 2 screenshots ago. He says 7, send me location please. And he sends the location. It's super hard to parking over there. He says it's very easy. There's a lot of street parking. She says, sure, see you later. And don't forget, I don't speak English. And then she's like, I'm here. And then they take some really cute photos together. Look at that. And he says, that was fire. And she says, yes, that was. And they wound up obviously hooking up. Now look, even though she doesn't speak English or she doesn't speak much English, in a situation like this, when there's this much sexual tension and there's kind of this underlying idea that like, hey, if we like each other and you're not a massive creep, we're probably gonna fuck, like it's totally fine. I've had a situation like this where the girl literally spoke no English when I was in Colombia, or even like a few in Miami. And again, when you set the right frame over text, all you need is a little Google Translate and it's gonna be totally fine. It might take a little longer, but it's gonna be fine. And bam. All right, so in case you haven't figured out what this magical word is that's going to get you laid, at least some of the time, it's BDSM, because that's going to make you stand out. It's going to make a lot of girls curious, even once who are not ready to do BDSM on the first date. They're going to be like, ooh, what is this? And that's going to make you stand out from all the other guys who are trying to message her. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, do me a big favor and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell for notifications, and share this video with a few friends, because that really helps in the algorithm. Also, if you want to find out how good your texting skills are, take our free text game quiz. Link is going to be in the description. You can find out exactly where you're at when it comes to texting. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time.